You're watching TRTS Clips, a clip-sized content playlist that encloses experiences and stories of some of the most amazing, intellectually sound people from different walks of life. You enjoy this particular clip and don't forget to check out the entire playlist. If you like it, please support us by sharing it. Now, without further ado, the guest is all yours.
Also, so like you had a successful exit from your previous startup. So for the sake of learning for the audiences, could you just explain what does a successful exit from a startup means?
So Kushal, if you look at any venture, right, the funded venture, so there are a few key stakeholders, right? You have I always put my team or my colleagues first. So that's the first stakeholder you have. The second is your customers, the third is your investors. And the fourth is definitely you and your promoters group, right? So there are the four big stakeholders in that order, I would say. And when I talk about a successful, exit, it means that you have been able to create value for each of these stakeholders, right? So when I take it one by one, if I take the case of my team, you give an example, Kushagra, there were some kids we had hired when we had just started out. We were paying them, we couldn't afford to pay them salaries of say more than 7,000 to 8,000 or 10,000 maybe a month, right? Post acquisition in 5 years time, the same guys are now getting a 70 to 80K take home, right? So that's the kind of difference that has been brought to their life. That's the value addition that, by God's grace, we were able to bring to their lives, right? So they are one. Secondly, with regards to our customers. Now, specifically in our case, once the acquisition happened, we suddenly had access to a much wider talent pool. We had access to much more capital. So the way that we could service our customers, the way we could enhance our product for them, that went up manifold, right? So our customers benefited a lot. Then the third one is your investors. Now, the investors, for all the good reasons, I mean, they are putting in money because they're expecting some returns, right? So we were able to give them a fairly good return in 3 years' time. In fact, a pretty good return, all cash exit to our investors. So we created value there too. And because we created value for our investors there, Kushagra, and the fact that we built a good karma with them. So when we were looking to raise funds for HooLiv, when these investors went back to them and for a due diligence, I think we passed that with flying colors because we had created value from them. We multiplied their wealth, right? Exactly. And finally, it comes to the team. Now, the promoters team, right? Now, the promoters team, 5-6 years together, you have seen more downs. You have sacrificed a lot. You have missed out on that vacation. You have missed out on the salary and all that. So then, you figure out whether that acquisition is rewarding for you as well or not. And fortunately, in our case, it was very rewarding. So for all these four stakeholders, Kushagra, we could create value. And that's how I define a successful acquisition.